Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
And guess what?
What?
This is the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show right here on iHeartRadio. Coming up, the Car Clinic. We'll have this week's automotive news. Jeff's going to do a thing on tires. Don't ask what that thing is. It's not lewd this time. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. We need more Jeff Dziekan, always. I'm Don Armstrong. Conrad's out still, partying down on 6th Street in Austin.
Wonderful.
They had some horrible car accident down there last
night.
Did they?
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, injured 11 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, down on Barton Springs.
Did not hear
Barton
that.
Springs Road.
Yeah. Apparently there was a T-bone accident, and one of the cars slid into a great big food truck. It looked like ice cream cones or something.
Oh.
All these people were standing there waiting for ice cream.
Ouch. Wow.
And, yeah, it was bad. Anyway, speedy recovery to all those folks down there. Love going to Austin, and it's always good times. Anyway, so I thought what we would do, we try to do this a couple of times a year. You know, Jeff used to work for, several tire manufacturers.
I was a rep for a tire wholesaler, which we did have manufacturers.
Right.
Absolutely.
Pirelli was your...
Pirelli. I actually worked as a manufacturer rep directly for Pirelli.
Right.
And then when I went in with ATD, American Tire Distributors, we repped Pirelli and Bridgestone and Continental and Michelin and all that. So that was our bread and butter, our bailiwick, our thing. But we had different divisions. I worked specifically for the car dealer channel. We had other departments that worked with wheels. Some worked with agricultural, farm implement and things, big tractor tires and things like that. So, and then there were the mom and pop versions of it, the little tire stores, commercial end of it, like the discounts and NTBs and things. Those are all different separate divisions, or what they call silos. So in my profession, what I did was the car dealers. So we would go in and do the OE fitments for the vehicles that folks come in for their service and things, and they would need tires, and we would instruct either the service advisors or the customers themselves on what tire care and tire handling and what's best for them.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I got, all of my
schooling
on going back to the OE fits. Going back to the OE fitment, if you buy a used car or pre-owned and so on, you would go back to the original tire size. Kind of weighed away from that because now with all the manufacturers and all the aftermarket supplies of tires that you can get, there is no recourse in going either way. So if you were to draw a line and a pencil, in that pencil line would be all of the manufacturer's quality and control. So they've all upgraded it. It's the Department of Transportation who regulates it. So, and also the RMA, the Rubber Manufacturers of America, they regulate themselves as well. So it's a good industry. You don't hear a lot about it anymore.
Well, that's a good thing.
Well, yeah, you don't. Recalls, you would hear that. But so far as anything new in the industry, they're always upgrading. There's a lot of R&D. Pirelli would their mantra was that anything we do on the racetrack we put into the street cars, which they all do now anyways. You got your Goodyears in NASCAR, you got your Pirelli in the open wheel circuits and things, the IMSAs and the Formula Ones. So all of that technology from racing does go into the street vehicles.
Is Michelin, is that a French company?
French company. Michelin is in my opinion, and I used to say, Michelin is the go-to tire to fix any...
It's funny you should say that because and we have not had a discussion prior to the show today. And when I see clean tires, I'll look and say, oh, that's a pretty good looking tire on the sidewall. What kind of car tire is that? And I'm going, oh, well, that's another Michelin. You see so many Michelin replacement tires if they don't come from the manufacturer themselves. It is, and I've bought a lot of Michelin tires, and I've never had an issue with a Michelin tire. Now, I have bought a set of Michelin tires that they sold me that had a tread pattern that was noisy. And I wound up taking them back. Yeah. It was just too much.
There are still things that the tire manufacturers do offer, the Michelins and the Firestones and the Bridgestones of the world, a 30-day free ride. So if you are unhappy with it, be it noise or maybe you just don't like the way it feels, within that 30 days you can take it back for a comparable priced tire to be replaced on it. In most cases, they do that. Within that brand, you're not going to go from a Firestone to a Michelin. They're not going to do that.
Right.
Or they'll reimburse you, and then you can go out about your business elsewhere.
Did not know that.
But and there's also price match. You don't hear about that anymore, too. So you can price match a tire through the internet.
So let's say I go to the Firestone store down here, and I say, oh, I like that set of tires, and they match kind of the parameters that I'm looking for, and they're a set of 4 for $900. And then I'm going, man, that's a little steep. So I go over here to the other store, Discount, let's say. Go over to Discount, and they've got them for a lot less. Chances are that Firestone store is going to match the price that...
If it's apples to apples.
Yeah.
And if they're... It used to be, and there's a lot of things you said there, it used to be on the internet, they would not match anything on the internet. If you're a brick and mortar store, be it a dealership or a mom and pop or a chain, they would not match that internet because the internet has no inventory. The internet doesn't carry any liability of that tire. They're just selling it to you and shipping it to you, and then they're done. They wash their hands of it. So they got away from that. Then there was things brought up. Well, I'm going to buy on the internet and I'll never see you again. Well, they made some adjustments to it where they could go ahead and price match a tire from the internet. That's still around. I don't know how much of that is being used now because, folks, once you get a captive audience and you get that halo effect, a halo effect is when you're pulling those wheels off that car, you're looking at the brakes, the wearable parts, the bushings, the tie rod ends and things. That's where your upsells come from because you don't make a lot of money on tires. Tires are probably the most
like you're going to the grocery store.
Right? Yeah. And the 4 things that a tire does for you, it supports the weight of the vehicle, for one. It absorbs shock, road
imperfections.
Exactly. Run, stop, and run. You got to be able to run, stop, and keep going. And then, of course, the last one is turning. The tires do all of that for you, and it's one of the most important things of your vehicle because it's riding on that. It's generally a patch about the size of a 3x5 card is on the road. That's your contact patch. That's what they call it. Not the seat of the pants like you would do on your...
You would think that it's bigger than that, but it really isn't.
It's about a 3x5 car. It's about that
big. My car with those great big huge tires on the
little
Corvette,
larger,
but it's only in width.
Yeah.
Right. It's not in depth.
Yeah.
So it's just a wider little patch.
Exactly. So it is an important feature on your vehicle. It is a wearable part. Back in the day, you would get 12 months, 12,000 miles. That would be a warranty on a tire. Now you're into the 30s, 32, 35. There are some manufacturers that make them that are in the 60 to 90,000.
But they have wear indicators on them.
They do have wear indicators.
Are they accurate?
Yes, very accurate because in the state of Texas, you have to get state inspections. And that wear bar that's in between your tread blocks through the sipes, that's 330 seconds. So if you got a tire and you're going in to get it inspected, if they see that, then chances are they're going to say that you need tires. Or you can get a tire gauge and do it in 3 different spots on the tire to see the tread depth of that tire. You don't have to do that. But the wear bar is 330 seconds. If it gets close to that, you're done.
But there's also a wear indicator, isn't there, on the side of the tire?
There are
a rating.
Well,
a rating.
There's several ratings. In fact, I've got all that right here. All of that.
Well, tell us about the rating. So, in other words, I want, because the higher the tread wear rating is, generally speaking, it's going to cost me more for that because that means that the tire is going to last longer.
Right.
And I'm going to pay for that.
Well, it's not only the wear of it, but it's also heat because rubber does deteriorate with heat. And if you have friction on your tire as it goes down the road, it obviously builds up heat. Your tire will expand. If it's underinflated, it'll inflate a little bit. Or if it's overinflated, you could have it pop or disintegrate. So there's other things involved than just that. There's a load index and there's also a speed index along with the heat and the rating of the tire. So load index, and there's different in U.S. and in Europe. Europe, they're a little bit more stringent on it, and in U.S. they're not. But to that point, there are different ratings, and you can get a speed rating, you can get an H, S through Y for miles per hour on the tire. Yours, I believe, are a Z on your vehicle, and over 149 miles an hour in an optimum driving ability is what your tire's rated for.
But when you get those kind of rated tires, okay, you can do 149 miles an hour theoretically, according to that. But isn't that tire a little bit softer so that it, as part of the performance of it, to make it stick at that rate?
It can be. There's Don's tires on his Corvette are a little bit softer, a little bit stickier.
Sticky is what I was looking for.
You're going to get into a passenger tire like on say an Impala or something, or one of the vehicles you drive. It's going to be a P-rated tire for passenger, and it could be a little bit harder tire, but it's the way it's built, Mike, because you've got different rayons and nylons and things that are on that tread before they put the rubber on for the tread blocks and the sipes. You've got the sidewall construction, which makes a tire firmer or stiffer, and then you've got the tires like Don has, which are run flats. You've got that, which is also a stiffer sidewall, because you're running on a flat tire, and what's holding that tire off the ground are those sidewalls. So the stiffer the sidewall, and it's going to be a stiffer ride, even if it's not flat.
Right.
If you got the proper air in it, because it's got the stiffer
stronger
sidewalls. Right.
Sidewalls. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's talk about, how do you, I know that you've always said, look, if you want the same performance that you have on your car when it comes out of the factory, get the comparable tire for that came out of the factory. Same
Correct.
size. Now, I know that, for instance, if you go to Discount Tire, the website, they have options to upgrade the size of the tire. I think they got 3 upgrades for most of the tires.
Right. It's a plus sizing. Is what they call it.
And why would you do that?
You could do it for aesthetics, the way it looks. You could do it probably, in most cases, people will do it for, they think they're getting better mileage, or maybe they've changed the rim size or something of that nature. But generally, if you go +3 on a tire, you're maxed out. So if you go from a 17, 18, 19 to a 20, 20 is probably going to be the capability of that vehicle, and it has to go back to the load index speed ratings.
Right. But so let's just stick with the actual tire wheel combination that came with the car. Okay, I got 35,000 miles on it. I'm going to go on a road trip, take the family, going to drive a couple thousand miles. I need new tires. And so that particular tire that came on the car is no longer available. So what do I do then? How do I shop that?
Manufacturers, and we'll use Bridgestone as an example. Bridgestone has many tire lines within that family of Bridgestone. So it may be a particular product that they make that no longer carry, but you're still going to be within that Bridgestone family.
In a passenger car
tire.
Right.
Or you could switch to a Continental. Nowadays, it's budget. And how long are you going to use the car? We're driving cars longer.
Right.
We're getting into the 200,000 miles of a vehicle that we talked about, Consumer Reports. Those are the things that have to be kept in mind when you do buy new tires. Am I going to keep it? Is it going to be a grocery getter? Am I going to work 20 miles each way, whatever the case? That's going to be a factor on where you buy tires. Now, if you like a particular brand, if it's a Goodyear, stick with a Goodyear. There's nothing wrong with that. Or if you don't, now I know Kathy, she's very fickle. Car comes with Continental. She didn't like to ride a Continental. We got her tires, and they kind of worn out a little bit faster than what she anticipated. She's in a Michelin now, and that's the go-to. It was a little bit hard convincing her on that, because she was mindset on what she wanted to have. The ride that you have, the feel in your butt when you're steering.
Right.
That's the seat of the pants.
The way you feel the road.
Right. And if the road is, tap, 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 you can feel every pebble, that may not be a good tire for you.
And, I also want you to address, if you will, the actual makeup of the tire, because there are, for instance, on the SUVs or crossovers, they're so popular these days. There are many people that, I've got to have that mud and snow rating on there, and they never take the thing off road. And then that kind of overkill, if you get that.
Well, it can be, and it depends on what the vehicle came with, because you do have a P-rated for passenger, and you got an LT for light truck. You've got E-rated for a commercial, and I'm sure the vans that Conrad drives, the big BG vans, heavy
cargo vans,
are E-rated. So there's different tires for different makeups of the vehicle.
Well, for instance, let's say I've got a Suburban, but it's a 2-wheel drive here in Houston, Texas. The only thing that I really deal with here in Houston, Texas, is rain and heat.
Yep.
And I don't take the thing off-road. There's no reason for me to have mud and snow MS capability on it. I just want a passenger car tire for the truck. Do they make it?
Yes, they'll make a passenger for the Suburban, the Tahoes, the larger SUVs, the Lincolns and things. But you can also cross over into an LT, which is a light truck. That's where you're going to be getting the larger tread blocks and the sipes. You can put your fingers in them, and that's also what makes noise. So if you look at a tire, on the side of the tire, you will see how the tread block comes over the side. And if you look at it, they're not all equally distanced. They're not all the same size. Some are larger, some are smaller, and they're spaced differently. That is for harmonic balancing. That is for noise. So that is one thing that they build into the tire, a construction of the tire like you see here, Mike, going down the side. That's what it is. You get a Jeep tire. You get the big Wranglers and the big Mudders and things like that. You'll see those tread blocks expand down the side of the sidewall. The reason for that, when you go rock climbing and you let air out of the tire, or even sand running, that sidewall is a grip because your sidewall is less, it collapses it, and that's gripping into the road feature as well.
Well, that's good to know because I just thought that the rim was a little narrow and it's causing it to be a little more bulbous.
No, there's a purpose behind that. It bulbous.
There's a reason for it.
Yeah, for tread. And also, when we leave here today, and you can look at, it's just Don's or yours, the spacing for the harmonics of that.
Yeah, because I know every once in a while there'll be one of those big trucks lifted up and everything come blowing by you.
Well, you hear them. Yeah, you hear them, and that's the spacing between the tread blocks.
So, okay, so I want to buy a new set of tires for my, let's just say, Hyundai SUV crossover. And they don't make the tire that it originally came with, but they've offered 3 different other brands in the same size.
Sure.
Which brand do I choose? Do I choose an upgraded size? I want to stay with the same size. It's a whole lot easier that way. But I see all of these different price ranges for all of these tires that now are fit for my car.
Well, what they're pricing on is the longevity of the tire. Is it going to last 30,000 miles? Is it a 60,000-mile tire? What is it? And you're going to pay more for the longevity of the tire. So those are things to consider. Is your pocketbook going to be able to afford it? Because you talked earlier for $900, and some are more and some are less. You paid a lot of money for the tires you have in your Corvette. They're great tires. They're going to last you. So you did the right thing.
But I didn't have a lot of choice.
No, you didn't. I think you had 2 or maybe 3 at best.
Right.
And then there's the good, better, best scenario. The good scenario is going to be the cheapest and the shortest life. And then the better is going to be a little bit more longevity. I'm going to keep the car another couple of years. Let me get the better of this. And then the best is I'll never get rid of it. I'm going to turn it into a hot rod later on. I'm going to keep the tires and so on. So it's budget. It's what's available. Do you like that brand? Oh, I absolutely hate brand X. I'm going to go to brand Y because I hear a lot of bad things about it. I hear that in the industry a lot. You got people that are loyal to a brand or a particular restaurant or a particular tire.
Yeah, people like what they like.
Yeah. Absolutely. You shop Amazon, but there's a bunch of choices on Amazon. So this is pretty much the same principle, whatever you like.
I will say this, and this is just me, and I have nothing against Tire Rack, but I cannot imagine going to Tire Rack, buying tires through Tire Rack, having their tires shipped to their installer, and going through that whole rigmarole when all I have to do is go down to a place like Discount Tire. I've got all of these choices. They've got them in stock.
Yep.
And if they don't have them in stock, they'll have it tomorrow.
Yeah.
You schedule an appointment. You go in. Boom. There you go.
That's what you did.
That's what I did.
Yeah. They only had 2.
We had to order 2.
Yeah, and they came in and you had them done.
Yeah.
It was like a day later.
And it took, what, an hour?
If that. Yeah, about an hour.
About an hour.
But
for
see,
4 tires balanced and ready to go.
We were taking pictures. We were, selfies with the old tires and all that.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Big hurrah.
Yeah. But, you make the point that the people that are out there that need it, they're going to find a way. They're going to do their research. They're going to do their due diligence. And this Tire Rack episode that you talked about, I was involved in some of that when it first came out, where Mike being a Tire Rack rep, you would get the tires, but you would ship them to Don's Garage, and Don's Garage would quote you a price for the labor because they're only quoting you a price for the product. So you might be getting a good deal on a tire, but the garage place might not be giving you the best deal as well.
Right, because they're not making any money off the tires.
And are you going to get a warranty? How do you get that warranty? Well, Don's garage. You got to take them off. You got to ship them back yourself. So that kind of fell through a little bit.
Yeah. So there's that, and and it's not a cut against
no.
Tire Rack whatsoever.
It's a different business model. It's
Well,
like buying a car off.
Listen, if I live in Neaterville and I don't have a tire store there, then
goes the
maybe the Tire Rack is the way for me to go. Have them shipped on to Don's
garage.
Garage.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, time now for Conrad's Car Clinic, and I think that Mr. Mars has put together something that I think would be interesting.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
there.
I want to talk about the VIN, the vehicle identification number. We get Jeff to pull that up. One of the things
17 number digit,
17 characters, but I found it interesting. They don't use the Q, they don't use the I, just the zoom.
Oh,
and they don't use the O, because whenever you start looking at the string of numbers, particularly when they're printed up small, it's
you
not
can't
there.
see them.
You can't distinguish them. So then I got to think, okay, so where are you going to find it? You always look underneath the windshield, but actually there's 4 common places where you find it. Generally under the hood, at the front of the engine block or someplace, the driver's side interior of the dash, the front end of the frame, and the driver's side door. That's where most people see it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same number that's on your insurance card, obviously. But now you got 17 numbers there, so what do they really mean?
Yes.
So you can go online and you can find decoders. And the thing we learned that is the very first digit is the country of origin. So every country around the world is represented there. The second is the vehicle manufacturer, whether it's Chevrolet, Ford, Audi, whatever. Then it gets into the vehicle type and division, and then you get the vehicle brand is like across the next 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. And you get into the security check digit, which is just to make sure that everything in the number and everything sequencing is right. You get the model year, and where it was built is represented by 1 character. And then you actually get the vehicle's production number that's made off that line.
How many numbers are those?
1, 2, 3, 4,
8.
5, 6.
6 numbers?
Yes, is the last 6 numbers of it. And that's followed by, And so when you come on down, though, and when you get in here and you start looking at these character codes, so code A, which is the model year, that's for 1980. And then code L is for 1990, and it goes through all this, but it has, because there's so many years, it has to repeat.
Sure.
So you got to kind of look at it and figure out, you got to kind of look at the knowledge that's built into the coding system. Say, okay.
You got a car that's 30 years old. It's not today.
That's correct. So you got to use a little bit of common sense.
Duh.
And, of course, they got things for like cars that are built in Africa, Asia, Europe. They're all coded out. And you can go in and go through your entire VIN number and see what all is supposed to be in your car to a certain level of detail.
Yeah. You can't find, however, what trim level the car is.
Well, technically you can.
You could in the past.
Well, because you got to come up here whenever you get up here and you're looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 5 to 8 digit where you get into the brand that represents the body style, the engine size, and the type, the model series. All that's built into.
But it doesn't tell you what the paint code is.
It's on the plate. It's on the plate.
Right, but it's not on the VIN.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So, but what you're asking about is those 5 digits. You got to take those 5 digits and then decode them within that particular manufacturer's coding system.
Good guy at Graveyard Cars. He's always talking about the plate,
Yep.
and they can name the color just by looking at the number and the interior and how many stitches in the seat and all that stuff.
And someplace in those 5 digits.
But he has to have the build sheet for that because each car is different, and that is not included in the VIN.
What's on the screen right there, and that is the word that Conrad sent me for that guy's name.
Yeah.
That's how you pronounce that.
There's that.
There is.
All right, so you good?
Yeah, it was real interesting. I always knew the VIN was there and it meant some stuff, but never really knew the intelligence that was built into it.
Yeah. I got a couple stories
cool.
I want to get in before we finish the show out today. GM and Honda plan to co-develop a line of affordable electric vehicles with a focus on compact crossovers starting in 2027. Automaker says the collaboration will enable global production of millions of EVs, including compact crossovers. The vehicles will be based on a new global electric architecture powered by GM's Ultium battery technology. That's coming up in the future. U.S. government may need more than 100,000 charging stations to support widespread EV use, government watchdog told a congressional hearing on Tuesday. However, less than 0.3% of the government's 657,000 vehicles were electric. as of 2020, or 1,777. In 2020, the government spent $4.2 billion on vehicle costs, including $730 million for fuel. That's your money, and my money, and your money. In its effort to move past the recall, which represented a black mark on General Motors' EV ramp-up, the brand said it expects media spending for the Bolt to top all other nameplates except the Silverado pickup. So look for the Bolt on your favorite TV show
there you go.
soon. Really? Self-driving trucking firm is expanding operations here in Texas beyond its Dallas hub, adding terminals in El Paso, Fort Worth, and here in Houston. Aurora anticipates the interstates that connect those cities will be high-volume routes for commercial service, expected to start in 2023. Something to look forward to. And Cox Automotive said Thursday that its Manheim Used Vehicle Value Index, which tracks vehicles sold at Manheim's U.S. auctions, big wholesaler, fell 3.3% in March compared to February. The decline in February prices, the first the index has recorded since last August, so prices, I think, may be coming down. We will finish up today's show right after this quick break.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Tony Stewart Racing joins the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series, and his drivers, Leah Pruitt and Matt Hagan, will face off against NHRA stars including the legendary John Force Racing Team. Don't miss this battle of horsepower and performance. It's the final NHRA Spring Nationals event at Houston Raceway Park. Don't miss it, April 22nd through 24th. This is your last chance for nitro action in Baytown. Tickets at HoustonRaceway.com.
The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 Car Talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best Car Talk Show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Conrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In Real Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite Car Talk team. In Real Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In Real Time Car Talk.
Uh-oh. I hit the wrong button. Never mind that. Oh, my gosh. You know, leave it to Don Armstrong to bragging about this, and I'm going, oh, my God. I hit the
You
wrong
spoke
damn
too
button.
soon.
Just leave it to Beaver.
Hey, that's a wrap for this week's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeartRadio. Hey, when you're on our favorite Facebook page, please give us a like, tell us your friends about us, and share our junk if you would, please. You'll get Conrad's Unicorn Hunting Features, along with all things automotive, all week long. There'll be some fun stuff in there for you, too, including upcoming events, cruise-ins, and other goodies, including Don's screw-ups. The In Wheel Time Car Show is on 24/7 on iHeartRadio, both online and through the iHeart app. Find us at the In Wheel Time Car Talk place.
Did you read that?
No. We'll be streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and InWheelTime.com every Saturday, 8 to 11 Central. 30-minute podcasts available from your favorite podcast outlet 7 days a week. In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is David Ainsley. Our Marketing Advertising Manager and Video Technical Director is We Need More, Jeff Dziekan. For booking agent and podcast editor Mike Out of This World Mars and his royalty king Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong.
Miss you, Conrad.
Today's show is produced by the Lake Titicaca Neighborhood Association.
All right.
Be sure and join us again for our next live In Wheel Time Car Talk show from Studio A next Saturday, April 16th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then.
That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.